What's up students? So in this video I'm going to show you how to solve problem 4 from section 2 asked in the examination. So here you have to find the value of the unknown side in a given triangle wherein you have two angles and one side. So in a problem like this, whenever you are given two angles and one side, you always have to use the sine rule. Now where will you locate the sine rule? So that sine rule is present on your formula sheet, which I'll show you here. Let me refer to my website. So it is on page number 4. At the very top you have trigonometric rules. Now you will be using the sine rule, which is sine A over A, or sine A over A equals to sine B over B equals to sine C over C. Now back to the problem. Okay. So now whenever you're solving a problem like this, you always need to draw a rough figure. Now this I have drawn just by hand. You do not want to waste time drawing a proper good looking figure, because you will not be marked for the figure in the end. It has to be rough, so you got to aim at solving any given problem in as little time as possible. So I have written my sine rule here. Now what does capital A, capital B, capital C, small a, small b and small c stand for? Now if you take a look at the problem which I have here in the question paper, I have two angles, an unknown side and a known side. Now what I am going to do is I am going to name this figure. So basically I'm going to give each angle a letter and each side another letter. Now how am I going to do that? So what I have done here is my two angles I have named them as capital A, capital B and capital C. You always name the angle with a capital letter, and sides opposite the capital A is small a, side opposite angle B is small b, and side opposite angle C is small c. So that is how you name your triangle. Now once you have noted down the information given, that is angle A is 60, angle B is 80, small a is 7 and small b is what we need to know, then we can go ahead and use our sine rule to solve this problem. So because we need to find b, I'm going to write sine b over b, and I could use sine c over c, but then if you look at the figure, I don't know what angle c is, neither do I know the value of side c. So instead of wasting time calculating angle c using your 180 minus a minus b, what I can do is just use the second part of the sine rule, that is sine a over a equals to sine b over b. So writing it down here, in the next step I substitute the values. Sine 60 over 7 equals to sine 80 over x. My next step would be to calculate the value of sine. So turning the calculator on. Now you must be careful here. When you're calculating the value of sine, you got to use sine 60 close bracket equal to in your decimal form. That is the answer. Now whenever you're using a scientific calculator, make sure that your calculator is in degree mode. If it is in the radian mode, you will not get the right answer. So noting down this value of sine 60 as 0.86, I write it in my calculation. I will do the same thing for sine of 80. Sine 80 equals to 0.9848. Now again, I'm not going to write all of the decimal places. I'm going to round that figure up and write it to 2 decimal places, like I have written here, 0.98. Now next, once I have written down the values, I need to solve for x. Now x here is in the denominator, so our target is to get all the known values, that is the numbers on one side and the unknowns on the other. So x will go on the other side of the division sign on top. Because it is being divided by here, it goes in the numerator on the other side. And 7, because it is in the denominator, it will go in the numerator over here. And 0.86, because it is in the numerator, goes in the denominator. And now this number you can calculate using your calculator. Now again, be careful while calculating expressions like these, because if you don't have your brackets, you could go wrong. So open bracket, 7 times 0.98, close bracket, and the entire expression is divided by, again open bracket, 0.86, close bracket, equal to sign, in decimal 7.976. So I have rounded up that value, hence my x equals to 7.97. Now the marking scheme for this question, if you are able to correctly identify the formula, you will be awarded 1 mark. If you are able to identify the unknowns in the second step, you will be awarded another mark. If you're correctly using the correct part of the sine rule, you will be awarded another mark, the third mark. When you correctly calculate the values of sine and write them down, you will get 1 mark. And once you substitute those known values in the equation and solve for x, you will be awarded the 5th mark, getting the total to 5 in total.